This is a place.
This is the place.
This is a place. We want to talk about. This is a place.
Thank you for listening to This is a Place podcast. My name is Brandon,
I'm Nate.
and we want to wish everybody, especially me, happy National Brandon Day.
No wonder you got so excited.
Yeah. Before every episode, we'll pull up the holidays and I'll send Nate the ones that are applicable for the day or read them myself. And I started cheering, didn't I? I was very excited.
Yeah. I thought like something like a good announcement came through, like you
We were,
finally
like
got
we were getting a
approved
hockey
for,
team or something.
or you got approved for your solar panels on your roof or something
Oh,
like that.
that would be a good day. No, nothing that exciting. Just Brandon Day. Just happens to fall on an episode release day. So that's kind of fun,
Yeah.
right?
All right. Well, let's go, Brandon.
Let's go.
I'll
Oh,
wear my hat for you today. My Let's Go Brandon hat.
it is a little disappointing because it's also National Denim Day, which I'm also a big fan of.
Denim?
Yeah, just
Your Levi's?
drape myself in denim jacket, kind of like the whole Joe Dirt thing.
Ooh, denim jacket, denim shirt, denim pants. Think
Denim
about it.
shoes.
We could start a whole new like trend. I mean,
Yeah,
denim shoes,
yeah. Have you ever seen denim
a
shoes? Because I think I
denim wallet.
had denim shoes from Walmart at one point. Maybe they weren't denim.
Oh, I'm sure of it.
Fake
And the
denim,
90s are
faux
basically
denim.
coming back. Have you been to Walmart lately and seen all the clothes? It's all
Yeah,
90s.
man. I mean, look at the kids. What the kids are wearing these days. It's
Right.
90s throwback year. It's your
Oh,
heyday.
100%. Yeah,
My least favorite
loving it.
decade.
Your least
Worst,
favorite?
the worst music, the worst fashion.
What?
I just think I don't hate the 90s. I just think the 90s were super weird and awkward. That's all.
Yeah, yeah.
That's all it is.
Because
Nothing
my
against them.
everyone's teenage years are weird, and that was my teenage years. I always have a thought.
What's your thoughts, Nate? Tell us your thoughts. That's why we
Your
have the
thoughts.
podcast
Anyways,
anyways, to really hear your
today
thoughts.
today when it releases, we talked about this on a prior
Last week.
pre-discussion podcast, and we forgot to bring it up.
Mm.
And I think it'd be fun for some of our listeners to join in on the game that I play. And the game is called the My Pleasure Chick-fil-A. And having a blast because right now, and it ends today, so I'm sorry. I might have brought it up in a previous episode, but
Your
a lot of the
deals.
Chick-fil-A's on Mondays and Wednesdays for the last month and a half have been doing, if you buy anything, you in the morning, buy anything, any purchase, you get a free item of the day, whatever it is, breakfast item, entree. So after I play my pickleball, I head over to the Chick-fil-A in Taylorsville and I get my deal for the day. But one thing that bugs me about Chick-fil-A, May brought it up before, I hate when you say thank you that they have to say my pleasure. So they have to say my pleasure, right? And they don't say it, they get in trouble, if I'm not mistaken.
They get in trouble?
I'm pretty sure they do.
Wow.
Like back in the day, McDonald's used to get mad at you if you didn't like smile or something when they ordered your food, and that kind of went downhill, didn't it?
Oh yeah,
But
they get
they
mad at
were a
you
little
if you
bit more
do
strict.
smile these days.
You shouldn't be smiling when you're working here. But Chick-fil-A, I think I'm pretty sure if anybody's worked there, I think anybody can confirm, but I'm pretty sure if you don't say my pleasure after someone says thank you, then it's not good. They will get on you for it. So it drives me nuts. I hate the my pleasure when I say thank you. So I do everything in my power when I'm at Chick-fil-A to not say thank you. I use many other words to express my gratitude without saying thank you. And so my game is to try to get it to where I can say my pleasure back to them. So what I do is when I get my food, I say, "Great. Have a nice day." And they usually say, "Oh, you too. Thanks." And I go, "My pleasure." Then I walk off. So I just want to, anyways, I just want to know if anybody else plays that game too.
So you can
or
still
wants to
play that
join in.
game. You won't get the deals, but you can still play the game anytime you go to Chick-fil-A, is what you're saying.
Yeah. So you can anytime you go to Chick-fil-A. Try to get it to where you get to say my pleasure and not them. That's
Hmm.
the goal. And I think that'd be a fun YouTube channel or TikTok video
Let's do it.
is figuring out ways to get them to say thank you to you.
Make them thank
And
you.
who
Who gets the
yeah, so
pleasure?
you win. The winner is the one who says my pleasure the most. That doesn't make sense or sound
I get what
good,
you're
but
saying. I get it. I get it.
yeah. So if you mess up and you say thank you and say my pleasure, that means you got to have them say it twice. You got to say it twice, I should say. So figure
Yeah,
out different creative ways to get them to say thank you to you so you can say my pleasure.
I like it. I thought you were gonna go. I thought you were gonna introduce a completely different game just now. I thought you were gonna
Oh,
introduce the game where you text me and ask, "I got X, Y, and Z. How much did it cost?" Because you did that
oh
to me the
yeah.
other day too.
I was like, oh, did we ever talk about making that like a segment on our podcast of what did Nate pay?
We may have. It kind of
All right.
started when we went to. I don't know. You kind of always have done it here and there, but it's never been a consistent thing. So if you want to have the segment, Nate, you have the segment. You give them the maybe what we could do. Now I'm gonna brainstorm here. We could have it be like a challenge, some kind of a competition. This can
So
help us see if people are actually listening.
or if they can
Matt,
actually
you're not
listening,
allowed to respond.
or if anybody else can beat that deal, right? Beat Nate's deal.
Beat Nate still,
Find a better
or
deal.
even just whoever gets the right answer. So you'd
Price.
say
Okay.
like, I went to McDonald's. I got a
Well, here we
spicy
go.
McChicken,
All
three
right, here we go.
shakes.
I got it, Brendan. I
Oh, you
got
got
it.
it. Okay, all right.
I'll just read off what I sent to you. You ready?
Let's do it.
So this was last Wednesday. I went to McDonald's and I got 2 spicy chickens, 2 double cheeseburgers, 1 large fry, 1 large drink, 1 cookie. How much did Nate pay? And this is including tax. So if you show up at McDonald's with this exact amount of money, how much would you pay?
Well, the caveat is you have to do Nate's tricks to get this deal.
Yes, you have to do tax.
If you do it my way, you'll get one of those
You'll pay
deals.
double. You'll pay double. You play almost. You
I
get
did
at
think
least
about
double.
sending you my after you sent that my McDonald's order after that, but it would have been easy to figure out because you literally could have just gone to the app and seen what everything costs. No, not
That's
quite like
true.
that because I always use a deal. I always use the app and I always use a deal, one way or another. But I'm not using the max amount of deals like you are. So
You're not maximizing your
so
potential.
so whoever gets the closest, Price is Right rules, right? Can't go over. Whoever gets the closest to the right answer, what do they win? And also, we're gonna have to remember to say the results at some point. What does the person win if they get your order cost correct?
Are we going to play the Price is Right rules where they can't go over, or
That's what you
just
did to
whoever
me.
gets
So I
closest?
think I
I
think they
did.
should have to do the same.
Ooh, yeah. So you can't go over.
So, but what do they win? What's their incentive to tell us?
Oh my goodness, I don't know,
Email
Brendan.
us, message us on social media, however you're gonna tell us. What are the people gonna win, Nate? A free sticker.
Free sticker. Oh yeah, we have our
We have
stickers.
stickers. They're still hanging around here.
Maybe we'll give them a little something if they're within a 5 mile radius
We'll
of
send
our
you
houses.
$5, good for at any McDonald's.
We'll give $5.
You just have to have us place the order and do the deals for you.
The crappy thing with McDonald's app is that you have to have your location on, so you can't
Yeah.
order your food and I can't go pick it up. It's
I
dumb.
know.
I wish it would make life easier for me because I now have to be like, all right, kids, you got to come with me.
To get the
We got to do the
deals.
deals.
Dad's doing his weird thing again.
So every one of us did that deal the other day. And if you met my son Bronco lately, he's bigger than me. He can throw down some food. And so the way you do it, like Brandon's talking about, you have to do a whole bunch of different orders because you have to use a deal each time. So I think that one ended up being 4 separate orders per person. Um, so the food just keeps coming out. You can see the worker kind of gets a little annoyed, like, I'm going to the same table every time. So it comes out, so the food doesn't all come out once. You got to strategically do it so where you're eating in the order you want to eat it in. But we had some spicy chickens come out, and Bronco ate 3 spicy chickens along with a double cheeseburger. And he still had more food coming out and his fry. Anyways, he could just eat. And I'm like, hey, Bronco, did you eat? Because then I was missing a spicy chicken. Like, wait, did we get one? Did we miss one? It's like, all right, Bronco, how much did you eat? He's like, I ate 3. And I'm like, oh, remember you're only supposed to eat 2. Then you would have had 2 double cheeseburgers as well. He goes, well, I thought Rocky got had 3 spicy, so I ate 3. I'm like, well, what are you supposed to do when you're unsure? He's like, ask. He's like, I just hate asking. I'm like, oh, what would you rather ask and not get in trouble or do something wrong and get in trouble? He's like, do something wrong. I want
Or
that
to ask
option.
for forgiveness.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, I'm not even going to bother with asking. And I'm like, well, at least the kid's honest. He never. So gonna have to watch out for him the next near future because he's just gonna do what he wants to do.
Yeah.
So here we are.
Here we are.
All right. So name the price.
What do they
Price
win?
is right. And
I don't think anyone's
then
gonna bother for a sticker. Should just give them $5. Venmo someone five
$5.
bucks.
We'll Venmo someone $5. No, well, yeah, no. We'll Venmo them the amount I paid.
Oh, I like that. I
Well,
like
then
that a
and
lot.
then they can go to McDonald's and try to. Well, you can't anymore because those deals are gone. But and then you can go to McDonald's and try to maximize that amount on their order.
Yeah. Okay. I was pretty close for my guess, right? Like I was a little high,
You were
but
like you've known me long enough that like if Nate's asked me what did I pay, that it's got
it's
to be
gonna be
something crazy. So you did. My wife does the same thing. Even then, I still come home sometimes and like, how much did I pay? And she's like, what the Hannah Montana? Um,
like your red vines. Okay.
dude, got a
I
better one the other day too, but we'll talk about when we talk about that episode.
All right. I looked
It's coming
back
up.
at what you paid, so now I know how much we each have to chip in. I agree. We will Venmo you this amount. If you guess under, right? It's got to be under. So this is the real test. Do we have anybody listening? Is it worth the amount of money that you paid?
Or would you rather have 2 spicy chickens, 2 double cheeseburgers, 1 large fry,
I don't
one
know. I
large
don't
drink,
know. I
and
don't
a
know. We'll see.
cookie?
Send us
Don't
your.
forget the cookie.
Don't forget the cookie. What is it? I'm surprised you didn't do the 3-pack. You just got one cookie. Who just gets one cookie at McDonald's?
Because I was trying.
He's trying to
Okay,
maximize the
okay,
savings.
okay. We've talked about this a million times that to me, it's not about the money, it's about the flipping deal. I even said to somebody the other day, they're like, oh, I'll give you some. I'm like, oh, it's funny. I'm not motivated by money. I'm motivated by the thrill of the deal. So
You didn't even
it's
care about the
about
food.
the deal.
You could have just thrown
So
the
the
food
one
away
cookie,
as long as you got the deal.
the reason for the one cookie, because one the deal was, and this one out, everyone should know about this. When the Salt Lake Bees, hit a double in a game, they get hit a double hit, base hit, or double base. It wouldn't be base hit, double hit, base hit. Is that what you call it? Double base hit. Anyways, when they hit a double, you the next day get a free McDouble at McDonald's with just purchase. There's no minimum amount.
So
So
hence the
that's
cookie. This is the
so unless
cheapest
you
thing
don't,
on
if you
the
drink
menu.
coffee, coffee might be cheaper, but usually everybody has coffee for cheap. But the cookie is the cheapest thing you can get. Some places it's like 69 cents at McDonald's, and the other McDonald's are like 75 cents.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I get the one cookie. But the other day I went and did the deal a couple weeks ago. And when I got my car and was driving off, they had actually given me 3 cookies. So what do you do then? You can't take it back because you already
Yeah.
touched it. So
Yeah.
free cookies.
Free cookies.
That's the reason for the one cookie because
And
I
then
have to
you
make
should
it
put that into your what you made anyway. So like what would the 3 cookies have cost? And then there's even more of a deal that you
value.
got.
Oh yeah, that day, yeah, I did. I got a good value. That was a good day. And I think it was a Friday that I went. So I got, anyways, yeah,
So what you should do is
it
like
was a
go
good
through the
day.
drive up, have them hand you your order, be like, oh, this wasn't my order. Then you keep that order, then they hand you another order and be like, you're taking the guys behind you, but you still got a pretty good deal.
I know. I know this isn't a
Unethical
podcast
life hack.
about McDonald's, but the other night we went. I think we were picking up pizza for the kids, and my daughter and my wife were with me, and I'm like, "Ooh, do we have that deal?" So I'm like, "Hey, each of you get on and buy your double cheeseburger and cookie because it would have been 3 double cheeseburgers for $2, right?"
Mm-hmm.
And the drive-through was the only thing open because it was later at night on a weekend, and it was literally going out into the street. So because they're, anyways, so we wait in line forever. And we get up and we're like, "Okay, we have 3 mobile online orders." She goes, "I can only do 2 at a time." And I'm like, "Am I being like punked right now? Are you like, you serious?" Like, so she goes, "You have to drive around to get back in line." I'm like, "Oh, there's no way in Hannah, Montana that I'm gonna go back around and wait in line for a dumb." I'm like, "Oh, please just refund us the money." Anyways, but I was
Yeah,
like mad. I'm like, "That's the stupidest thing ever that you can only do." So if me, you, and Matt decide to go through the McDonald's drive-through and we all do an online order, we have to drive around twice to pick up our order.
that's dumb.
That's really dumb.
I don't like
So
that.
I was not happy. Not happy. So cool thing is, I think our episode today, there might be McDonald's in this location.
What?
Is there McDonald's down there?
Yes.
Okay, there you go.
It's not in this location.
No, like, well, sorry, the city.
Okay. Before we get to that, we do have, man, I was thinking this is going to be a really light intro today, but obviously not. One more thing,
Heck no. Heck
two
no.
two more things we need to say. We had an episode last week about the hockey team. If you live under a rock, you haven't heard, the hockey team is officially official. Like we basically said it was official on our last episode, and it was announced
Because
that
we
same
knew it
day.
was official.
It was the same day we released the episode that it came out, I believe, or maybe it was the next day. I think it was on the 19th. So the day after, the 18th was the day after our episode came out. So like we said it was official, but now it officially is official. The team has been brought, press conferences have been had, the money's been spent, and the ink is drying. But the cool thing is we've spitballed our names suggestions. We're actually gonna everyone will have the opportunity to choose what the name is in some kind of bracket form. So, anyways, watch for that. As soon as that happens, we already know it's going to be Blizzard, Yeti, some kind of variation. That's the odds in Vegas.
I could see it being the Blizzards with the Yeti being the mascot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So
I think that's what's going to happen. But
that's what's going to happen.
either way, you'll have the chance to vote, and that's kind of fun. I think that's fun to put it in the hands of the community to be able to make the decision.
Then they can't whine and complain when it's something they don't like.
Yeah, as long as they find a way to make sure it's not just random people in Canada or something that are trying to sabotage our name. If there's a way they can avoid that somehow.
Because they're mad that we got the team and they didn't.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. If it's people in Quebec just trying to sabotage us, give us a crappy name, like figure that out.
The
So that
Canadians are so nice. They're so nice. They wouldn't do that.
That's true. They're way nice. So we would do that if they got the team over us. They wouldn't do the reverse form of that. So
Yeah.
good point. And the second announcement that goes along with that is we have been approved to have Matt back on the podcast. The lawsuit's been thrown out. Anyways, just happy to be able to talk to him again. So it's good news. He's going to be our unofficial.
Well, it hasn't been thrown. He dropped it because he knew he didn't have a case, right?
Exactly. Yeah. He
Okay.
knew he was going to lose. He knew that it was null and void. So he dropped the lawsuit, and now we're never going to talk about it ever again because it's done.
Or did you settle? Did we settle out of court?
I am forbidden from talking more about the matters.
About the settlement?
My attorney has advised me not to talk more about it. But
okay.
Anyway, it's done. He's going to be our we're not going full hockey podcast even though we have the ability to do so.
And it is we just don't have the desire right now.
We just don't have the desire. The team hasn't even started playing yet. Maybe in the fall we'll start it up, but for now we're not going full hockey. So if
they reach out to us again, asking us to be the we would reconsider at this point. But
Yes. But as until then, Matt has agreed to be our courtside reporter. So he'll be maybe he'll call in from time to time, give us some hockey updates if there are any. But anyway, let's get into the episode. It's gonna be
yes,
you hinted at it. We were talking about a place that may or may not have McDonald's. So we're going down south again. We hinted at this a couple episodes back. We had an episode about Sanpete County and different activities, outdoor activities you can do out there. But in Sanpete County, the crown jewel of Sanpete County is what? Snow College, right?
no,
No, not Snow College.
McDonald's.
There is a McDonald's in this town that this specific place is based off of. Actually, no, I think the McDonald's is in Ephraim. Technically, it's in Ephraim, but Ephraim is on its way, and as you pass this place, you'll start to see the Manti Temple, which is what we're talking about today. Which is kind of crazy. It's our first temple we're talking about. Is that weird? Is that normal?
I guess so. It's maybe it is, but
The whole time we've done the
temples are
podcast, we haven't been able to talk about the Salt Lake Temple because it's been closed. And
that's
obviously, we need
true.
to talk about it when it opens and we can go inside.
But there is just so excuse me. Temples are becoming the new stake center,
Maverick.
new Maverick of Utah, right? They're they're popping up everywhere, and they're- I was right with my prediction about where they're going to put the West Jordan one that they announced.
It'll be pretty close to my house.
So I guess it's kind of like maybe it's hard to talk about the temples because there's just so many of them.
But yeah, I mean, temples in a way they're all the same, but in a way they're all unique and different. And I think that's what's so cool about the Manti Temple is it's so different. It's so unique and has rich history about it, you know? So that's why I want to talk about it because it just this last Sunday was rededicated. I was able to go through with my family and tour it before it was rededicated. Well, they had an open house. And it's also, so I mean, I went to Snow College, so I went to this temple, visited it a lot while I was there because there's nothing else to do in that place other than go to the temple or ride four wheelers or shooting. And this is the temple that my wife and I got married in. So I I tend to think this is one of the better temples out there. Maybe I'm a little biased, but because it was the third temple built west of the Mississippi prior to, I mean, after the Saints moved over here. It's the overall fifth temple constructed for the church, but this one was built after both the St. George and Logan Temple, but was built before and was in use before the Salt Lake Temple. But I don't know. What do you think? What do you think about the Manti Temple? Have you ever been inside of it? Have you visited it? Did you go to the Manti
I've
pageant back in the
I've never
day?
been. I've been to the Manti pageant a few times. Two of my cousins were married there. I've never been inside of it because I was too young, but it's been a minute since I've been to Manti.
Not a trip usually on your route, huh?
We went quite often when I was younger. My next door neighbor, we're literally next door neighbor to the south of us. They moved down to Manti, so I feel like we went down and visited them a few times growing up, and then with
Mm-hmm.
the visits for my cousin's wedding. So seems like we went down there at least once, if not twice a year, and then with the pageants. But I would say it's probably been since the late 90s since I've actually been to visit Manti.
They used to do the Manti pageant, which I think drew a lot of people that direction, right? They did that
Right.
every year on the side of the hill, which was pretty cool.
Hmm.
I've been to it a couple times with the ward. My wife and I went there for one of our early dates when we were dating before she was my wife. So that was cool. I'm kind of sad they don't do it anymore because it was not saying it was like the best play I've ever seen, but it just kind of was fun to have a performance on the side of a temple like that.
Yeah,
It's just
being
unique.
outside, it's just really it is fun.
Yeah, and the outside portion of it all. You get to see the protesters, That's all the fun stuff that went with going and visiting that. But yeah, it's very typical to that typical to what you think of with a temple. They tend to try and build them on hills in mountains to go along with what the scriptures say about the mountain of the Lord, temples, whatever. So I think they try to put them in a place that's high so they can kind of be seen a little bit better.
Yeah,
And I mean, this one's no exception because there's not a lot in that city, and there's one big hill, and it happens to have a temple on top of it. So we can just go through some of the history of the temple. So it was designed by William Harrison Folsom, who moved to Manti while the temple was under construction. The temple dominates the Sanpete Valley and can be seen from many miles, as I've mentioned. Um, and obviously, I'm just reading from Wikipedia here. You can only go into the temple if you're a member of the church, unless they have these open houses, which there's always like an open house going on these days because there's always a temple being built or recently built, right? So
right.
there's definitely opportunities to check them out if you so desire to go in and see it before it's dedicated. So this temple was announced in 1875 by President Brigham Young, who visited the site with Warren S. Snow. And this was something I've always heard about. And there used to be a painting. I tried to look for it when I went into the Manti Temple, but I don't know if they moved it or if they took it out. But it was a painting of this thing that why they decided to put the temple there. And I guess it was Brigham Young said, "Here's the spot where the prophet Moroni stood and dedicated this piece of land for a temple site. And that is the reason why the location is made here and we can't move it from the spot." So the claim by the prophet at the time was that this was where Moroni had actually said there would be a temple. So there was a painting, at least at one point in the temple, that showed Moroni basically dedicating the spot where the temple is now. The reference to that story is from the Ensign in March 1978. So I would say there is questions whether that's valid or not, or canon at this point. It was originally dedicated April 25th, 1877, or the site was dedicated April 5th, 1877. And then the temple itself was completed in 1888, and a private dedication was held May 17th of that year. And it was dedicated by Wilford Woodruff. And yeah,
And it's still there.
it's still there. So the site for the temple was the Manti Stone Quarry, a large hill immediately northwest of town. Early pioneer settlers in the area prophesied that this would be the site of a temple. When Young announced the building of the temple, he also announced the 27-acre plot would be then known as Temple Hill. It's one of the few temples that had a location called the Holy of Holies until the Salt Lake Temple was dedicated, and then the room was turned into a sealing room. A 1966 study found that 52% of temple work was being done in either Salt Lake, Logan, or Manti Temple, even though there were 13 operating temples by that time. And this led to the building of the Ogden and Provo temples to relieve strain on the old pioneer era temples. But I think that's just what's so cool about this temple is it just looks old. Like even though they went through and redid stuff inside of it, what I think is cool is a lot of people rallied to kind of like preserve it. Because I know people were upset when they announced they were gonna kind of redo the temple, and they were worried a lot of the original art and things done by the pioneers was going to be changed and taken out or just completely destroyed. So someone that I know was a voice uniting to make sure they didn't completely change and destroy things in this temple was Wendy, who we had on our podcast a couple years ago from the Demolished Places podcast. When we talked about the Murray smokestacks. I really appreciated her insight and her post about it. So she went and visited the temple when they did the open house and talked about the early art done by a woman named Minerva Teichert. I hope I'm saying that right. But she was the one who was commissioned to create the world room in the temple.
Hmm.
And she was the first woman in the church to be commissioned to paint. She was given $4,000 for the project. At the time of creating the murals, Teichert was suffering from the effects of lead poisoning, which can cause difficulties, obviously. She created a deadline of a month to finish the project and would occasionally give a whole day just to a specific section. She was also known to ask for prayers for her health and would pray extra during times of difficulty during working on the painting. Um, so yeah, I know her being like one of the first women to be commissioned to paint something like that was a big deal. And so definitely can see why people will be upset of something like that being taken away. Because the thing I'm kind of not loving about them changing like the Salt Lake Temple and these old pioneer era temples is they're making them a little more standard, a little more, how would you call it?
Modern.
Yeah, modern and like the temple has a purpose, right? The purpose is for the work that's being done on behalf of people that passed on, right? And the church wants to do that in the most efficient way possible. And having things be standard is probably the best way to do that. But that does sometimes necessitate removing things that were originally in these temples. Because this temple, as well as the Salt Lake Temple, and wasn't it the St. George as well? They used to do what's called a live session,
Hmm.
which means rather than watching a presentation in a video format, it was actually people kind of acting out what you would see in the temple. And I don't think any temple is going to have that anymore. And when I went through the Manti Temple, you could see the video screens and everything that have already been put in. So that's been taken away, which is kind of sad because it's it's a very unique experience to do a live, right? I know you've done them before.
Yeah, it's different,
Yeah.
but it makes sense because I don't believe they had video cameras back in their pioneer days.
Did they? No.
I don't think so.
So you didn't have any choice other than having live actors.
Yep.
And that takes a lot of people too. Like even just from a personnel standpoint, the amount of people you'd have to have working and doing that is more than just if you can put on a movie or whatever. So anyway, it's just cool to go through and see again all the murals because it's really pretty. And I'll throw up some pictures in the social media, but you can also see online like what it looks like on the inside. You can definitely tell this temple is different and it's really unique to that time period and all the sacrifices and work that the pioneers put into it. Not saying that people don't sacrifice nowadays to build a temple, but it feels a little different when it was in the pioneer days.
Where, I mean, now if you build a temple, you hire it out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and but back then they pitched in and helped. The members pitched in and helped out.
Right.
And I think that's the way they used to build the churches as well, right? Is that everybody kind of got together and dedicated their time and
Yeah, it
skills
kind of
to build
makes
churches and stuff. So
doesn't it kind of make you
now we
appreciate a
just,
little bit more? Like if you put the
yeah,
actual work into it, you're gonna care more about it, you know?
100%. Like for example, today I'm getting my roof replaced, and I'm like, oh man, this would really suck if I had to be up there doing this myself. So it's nice that I don't have to lift a finger. They do it for me.
But you're not gonna appreciate it as much. You're just gonna take it for granted.
It's gonna go over my head.
There it is.
There it is.
So it was cool when I went back because my wife and I hadn't been back for a while. We have kids. It's a lot of work to get to a temple, let alone one in Manti. But it was cool to be able to take them and, because like when we get married in temples, you really can't go back to the place and show your kids where you got married. But we got the opportunity to do that, so we even went on the side and they had the room where we got married in, and we asked the lady if we could go in, and she's like, "You guys said the magic words. That's all you need to say, and we'll let you in this room." So we were able to walk through and show our kids, "Hey, this is where we got married." Obviously, my son probably won't remember that, but hopefully, my daughter will. She seemed like she appreciated to see that. That was pretty cool. But the coolest part about going through this temple, especially in an open house format, so they got these really cool stairs. When you've been there, did you ever see or hear about the stairs, Nate?
I don't recall.
So they've got these stairs. I always heard like, and I can't find much here on Wikipedia about the stairs, but the wood bends in like a specific way that like it's not normal for it to do that way. At least that's what I've been told. This could be all just hearsay. But basically the wood bends in a non-normal way, and it's just kind of like a architectural marvel the way it is, the way it's able to bend and wind like it does, especially with the type of wood that it is. And so they let us go up the stairs, all the way up the stairs, and you get to go in what's called like an assembly room of the temple. And not a lot of temples, like no temples they built today has something like this. But you've got one in the Salt Lake Temple, and in the old school, like the Kirkland Temple, it had a nice big assembly room where they used to have meetings and stuff. So it's so big, and it was so cool to go up there and see that. Like I can't help but think, how often are they using this? How often is it even worth having this space anymore? But it's just so cool to see it, because it's just like you watch old church movies and it's what you picture, where they would have their meetings. So it's just really cool to go up there and check that out. It's just this big white assembly room, super high ceilings, and it's like half the temple, and you don't even realize how big it is. But
Sounds like fun. Yeah, I don't really have much to add because I haven't been there for a while. And I thought you said you wanted to record about Manti Teo, not the
oh,
Manti Temple. And
oh.
so I was prepared for talking about catfishing and
We're gonna have to. You might have to be a little bit bigger before Manti agrees to come on, especially after that joke, Nate. Like ruined our
yeah,
chances.
well, right. Well, he's big and he can thump me pretty hard. So it was a joke, Manti.
Manti, come on.
Don't don't come get me.
It's just your name, man. It's just your name.
Yes.
Yeah, just also so reading through the Wikipedia, they originally announced that they were gonna remove the murals and change it up, but I think because of everybody's response to it, they changed their minds and announced that they are instead going to build a different temple, I think in Ephraim. Yeah, on May 1st of looks like 2021, President Russell M. Nelson announced that upon reconsideration, although the temple would be updated to use film, care would be taken to preserve the temple's interior, including its art, which I was told they went and touched up a bit, made things a little bit uh well, I don't know, touched up. It was built in the 1800s. What can you expect? But they said to increase temple capacity for the area, he announced that an additional temple would be built in Ephraim. So there's going to be, for lack of a better word, a more boring temple up the street a little bit. And this temple gets to stay mostly preserved like it was in the old pioneer days. So I'm really curious to now see, because I've been to the Salt Lake Temple a number of times. I'm curious to see how much that one's changed, because I don't think it's been a small task to do what they've done. It's been going on for quite a few years now, and the work still continues. So I wonder how much that one's going to change from what it was. Again, it's my favorite temple. I'm a little biased because of all the connections I have to it, but even as a kid, I just loved to go there and see the pageant, and I just thought the temple always was really cool looking.
It
I mean, I
is.
think
It's a pretty temple and it's historic. And it's nice because it's still in that it feels like you're stepping back in. I mean, I've never been inside the temple, but being on the temple grounds and being there, it almost feels like you're taking a step back in time because the town's so small and you got this huge building in the middle of it
Hmm.
where most temples are usually surrounded pretty
Pretty busy
populous
areas.
areas. Yeah,
Yeah. And it sticks out because it doesn't have a Captain Moroni on top of it.
that too. Yeah.
Not Captain Moroni, Angel Moroni.
Oh, I wasn't paying attention to what you said. I knew what
It
you meant though.
yeah. So no Angel Moroni on this one, or Captain Moroni for that matter.
Captain Moroni holding the banner of truth as that.
Hey, that's a plus up for a temple. Rather than Angel Moroni, put a captain on one of them
There you
with
go.
the standard of truth or whatever. But yeah, it's no Moroni. It's got a really cool wall up the side of it, which they used a lot when they did the pageant, but it's still just kind of a cool wall that you can walk up. I think. Pretty sure you can walk up it. At least I have before. I don't know if I was supposed to or not. But it's just a cool area just because it's so rich with the pioneer heritage and everything. So yeah. I apologies if this is your first time hearing about that you could have gone through and done an open house. And I'm sorry you can at this point, but you can definitely still see the pictures online, and it's really cool inside. So check it out.
Well, I guess if you're a member and you have a recommend, you
Oh
can
yeah,
go
yeah,
see it. If you're not a member, just get baptized,
yeah,
pay some tithing, get a recommend, go see it.
yeah. Change your life, all your habits.
No big deal.
Yeah. One other cool thing I noticed, and I this is just my guesses. So we talked about the pioneers sacrificing things. As you look through the temple, there's a lot of like there's one ceiling room that was pointed out to me that's really intricate and like took a lot of detail and a lot of time and probably money to make it the way it was. It's really cool
Hmm.
just inside the celestial room off the side of it. Anyway, they have, as I was looking through the temple, like they have all these really old school looking clocks that say like England and stuff like that. And so I imagine, pioneers brought those clocks and things from across the seas, and these were like family heirlooms that they donated to the temple. And this is just my guess. I don't know if there's validity to that claim, but I could definitely see something like that happening. So just the priceless old grandfather clocks that they have in there. Pretty cool. So yeah, a lot of fun to go through it and learn a little more about the history and the work that went into making such a place. And I think I might get in trouble if my grandma hears this. I think I have family that helped build the Manti Temple, and I'm pretty sure, again, this is just hearsay. I think they had issues with snakes in that area, pretty big issues with snakes. So they were fighting off a lot of snakes to be able to build the temple. And I think I had some family member that was heavily involved in getting rid of the snakes so they could build it. Anyway, that's all I got. You got anything else about the Manti Temple, Nate?
Like I said, I did all my research on Manti Te'os, so apologize for being unprepared.
It's okay.
And I didn't make it to the open house. There's a lot of open houses are going to be happening for temples in general. So if you just want to go see a temple, I mean, Taylorsville's going on right now. I think Saratoga still going on?
No, that one's done. I think that one's
So,
dedicated now.
but with all the temples being built, there's going to be plenty of opportunities where I felt like growing up, it was like rare. I think Bountiful Temple opened up and it was a big deal
Mm.
to
Yeah, I think I
to
went to
go
that
see
as a
that
kid.
one. And but I just also wonder too, like, does your property values really go up now
Yeah.
when a temple gets announced? Because there's so many of them.
Is it really? I don't know. I think
Really affect. I
it
think it helps
improves
the
the
area for
area.
sure. Like everything, it improves the area, but I don't know if people are really now going to pay extra money like they would. Like the Bountiful Temple, like literally the day after they announced it, Bountiful Temple, the land doubled in value.
Mm. Yeah, not quite like
But
that.
I don't really see that happening right now with temples. Maybe
I'll have
a
to
little bit.
check my property value, see if it went up at all from the temple.
Yours,
That's
no, you're too far away.
10,
I
10
think you would
minutes to
have to
the
be like
west.
within. I think you would have to be within like a block or two of the temple for it to really
Notice.
affect the value, if at all, in my opinion, because I just think there's just so many now.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah, so if you want to go to an open house, there's plenty of opportunities coming up. There's going to be like how many are there even in Utah right now? They're sitting on. They've got one in Heber,
Oh, in the works?
Tooele, Lehigh. Is the Orem one already dedicated? I don't know about that.
I don't think so.
They just started tearing down the
That was
Provo
that. Yeah, that is
Temple.
Orem, right? Right, the other side of the freeway.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, the
I don't know
rebuilding
if
the
that one's
Provo
done yet.
Temple, the Cupcake Temple.
That's unfortunate.
And right now, the one closest to us, the Taylorsville. And I think so there's reservations you can make. I think they also have standby lines, at least they did at the Manti Temple. So they
Yeah,
definitely
they'll
encourage
never turn
you.
anybody away. They just say that you might be waiting a minute to get in if you just show up.
When I went to so I heard horror stories of the Manti Temple, like it going all the way down the hill, people having to wait, like a long, long wait. We luckily went on like a Monday, late afternoon, evening, and we waited like a half an hour. And one of the usher guys kind of walking around the edge is like, "You guys only waited half an hour? Like, that's not even a wait at all. Like, you guys are really lucky." So I don't know what it'd be looking like if you were to go to a standby, but try and get into a reservation if you can, if you want to check it out. Because it's cool, you know, even if you are a member, there's places of the temple you can't really go in and see.
Right. That's a good point.
Well, that was the Manti Temple. Manti Teo, reach out as soon as you want to talk. Nate's already done the research for your episode, so
Give us your take on what happened,
yeah,
even though he's already done it on a few shows. But
much bigger
I
audience
think
than
there's
us.
actually, I want to say, is there a documentary on Netflix about it? Anyways, I think there is.
There is, yeah, I watched it. So even if it doesn't
Okay.
come on, we could do an episode. We could talk about it.
Yeah, yeah.
Netflix has
And
all
if he
the
doesn't,
facts.
well, he's on it, right? And he kind of explains his side.
Yeah. Does he need to tell it
Yeah,
again? I forgot how many
yeah.
times he's told it. Anyway, let us know which open house you're going to, which temple we should talk about next. But most importantly, let us know how much Nate's McDonald's meal cost.
That's what's important. Who's going to win the amount of money?
Who's going to win the blank amount of money that
Who's going to
we.
win in cents?
Thanks for listening to This Is a Place podcast.
And this was a place we just talked about.